right. Good afternoon. My name is Shima Kairigi. I'm the Interim Executive Director of the Immigrant Welcome Center, the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center. Happy Citizenship Day. First, I would like to thank our panelists for allotting the time to come and speak on their immigration and citizenship pathway. Thank you for making the time to speak with our larger audience. We are really excited to hear more about your specific citizenship pathway and the many priorities and challenges that you might have faced in that process. But before we get to speak to this amazing panelist, I do want to mention that these are just a few stories, few experiences of a plethora of experiences that exist in our community, that is the Maine community. You have individuals from various backgrounds who came to their citizenship journey in various ways, and you'll hear about this today. But I just want to also mention that many stories are not included in today's webinar, but we're hoping that we are able to just bring to light the importance and the relevancy of this critical day to various audiences and various communities in Maine. Before we start, I just want to say that I am honored and really excited that the Immigrant Welcome Center has been able to launch a citizenship, or rather civic engagement program. And 2 weeks ago, we hired a coordinator who would spearhead that specific program. We vehemently believe that the way in which an immigrant in the state of Maine and nationally speaking reaches their full potential is through civic engagement, and citizenship is just one aspect of that. So today feels really important and critical with respect to the work that we're trying to embody and push forward, and the communities that we're trying to support with respect to being able to have the right resources to attain the specific and critical resource and privilege. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our co-facilitator, Ekhlas, who's our current coordinator for the Civic Engagement Program, to introduce herself and to lead us in today's conversation.
Great. Thank you so much, Shima, for everything that you're doing for us here in our greater community. My name is Ekhlas Ahmed. I am really delighted to be with you guys here this afternoon. Happy Citizenship Day 2020. I'm really excited to be joining the center in the Civic Engagement Department. The team has been really welcoming, and we are doing a lot of amazing work, working with the community and helping people register to vote, and helping people request absentee ballots, just answering any questions that you might have, especially for this election, this November. It's a really critical election, so it needs all of us to be working together to make sure every eligible voter is registered and has what they need to cast their vote. Today, we're here to celebrate Citizenship Day. It's an important day for me as a refugee that came to this country only 15 years ago, and I could have never imagined the freedom that being a US citizen has given to me. I really feel like I can see the world in different lenses by traveling around the world and learning about so many different experiences. I don't want to take too much time and talk about myself. We have amazing 5 panelists that are kind of introduce themselves, tell us their journey of how they came to America, and tell us what it means for them to be a US citizen and how they practice the democracy that exists with that status. So we have some questions here for our panelists. Because I don't want to butcher anybody's name, I'm going to allow you to do the introduction yourself, and in no particular order. Whoever feels ready to start talking, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from, and your journey of how you ended up here in the beautiful state of Maine?
I can start. My name is Deqa Dhalac. I am originally from Somalia, East Africa. I came to the United States about 29 years ago. I resided my first time in Atlanta, Georgia, and we moved here in Maine in 2005. And I became actually U.S. citizen, naturalized citizen back in 1998. And it was extremely special to me that day because of the fact that usually the way it works when you become a U.S. citizen is that you take the interview with the officer of the immigration, and then after that you have about 6 to 1 year to have an appointment to come back and become a U.S. citizen. But that day was extremely special, the fact that I had my interview, I passed, and I was asked to come back at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to become a U.S. citizen. And that was something that never happened before. So I guess there was somebody special from somewhere in the world, I think very important person, not me, of course, who was becoming a U.S. citizen. So I get to be really lucky enough to be taking my interview and become a U.S. citizen same day. So that's the story that I tell most of the times, and it is in all. So I don't want to take more than that. I do work for the state. I am the family engagement and cultural responsiveness for the state of Maine's Department of Education. I'm also elected official. I'm a city councilor for the city of South Portland, and engage in communities, especially the immigrant communities, to civic engagement has been something that I have been doing ever since that I was become a U.S. citizen back in 1998. And I'm still doing that. And it's extremely important for us to make sure each and every one of us in our communities, we have a responsibility to have our people get engaged and also to register to vote. I think in Maine, and this might be not a correct data, we have at least 14,000 immigrant eligible to become a U.S. citizen, and each and every one of us has that responsibility to make sure they register and also vote.
Thank you so much, Deqa. Savy, would you like to go next?
Yes, I would like to go next. I was trying to unmute myself and my mouse was all the way down. My name is Sahloul. I'm the founder and executive director of New England Arab American Organization. Thank you everyone for this opportunity and to be celebrating all this special day. I came to Maine in 1997. Before that, I immigrated to Canada in 1992, and we stayed in Canada, Montreal, for around 5 years. And we came as Canadian consultant to work here in Maine for Savy, actually, before the Y2K bug. And I came here, and we were so welcomed here in a way that my kids were not like picked on. People ask us, where are you from? Where's your original country is? So I really felt like this is a place that I would love to raise my kids in. So what we did is that we sold our house, a small house that we had in Canada, and we settled here. And we've been here in Maine since then. So it's been around 23 years for now. Again, I became a citizen, American citizen around 2006. And, you know, as Deqa shared, like it's a special feeling. It's, you are proud of who you are. As all other immigrants, refugees who leave our country after surviving the war, or, you know, we come here looking for safety, for education, for a better life for our families. And hopefully everyone can find that. And, you know, again, so proud to be American citizen. So, all yours then.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So Zoe, you done?
Yes, I think she is.
Oh, yeah, okay. So my name is Adel Alrashid. I came in 2013 from Iraq, and I established my life here in Augusta, Maine. I came directly to Augusta, Maine. I wasn't know anything about United States before, and only the things I used to be working with the U.S. Military in Iraq after 2003. So I work in different places with the U.S. military directly. So I used to be working with they call it rehabilitation of the cities or rebuilt the cities it's get damaged during the war. So I work with different places. U.S. Military was to be uh, help and rebuilt or rehabilitation for the cities it's got damaged during the war. And I worked with them like 11 years. I mean, no, sorry, 8 years. Since 2003 until 2011. So that gave us opportunity for a special immigration visa. They call it SIV. So because I used to be directed my contact with the U.S. military. Otherwise, I came here in 2013 in Augusta, Maine. So in the beginning, I came with my wife and my two boys. One of them, it's now is 14 years old in 9th grade. Another one, he's 8 years old and he is in 3rd grade. And I got my daughter here. She's born here. She's 2 years now, two and a half. Her name Jenna is my sweets. So I worked in the beginning with the translation or interpretation agencies. Now I'm the director of interpreter department at Angles Behavior Health Services in Augusta, Maine. So my life is stable. So I got citizen in January 19. I mean, January 2019, last year. So we are really proud to live in this country. This country give me my opportunity for freedom. I used to be, when I was in Iraq, I'm veterinarian, and I have a master's degree from Iraq. But here I didn't work in this field. I wish, but I work on it. I just try to have to do some exams. But my life is stable and everything it's fine. And we work. Our kids is raised in a good and healthy places. And this is one of the very important things. We came here, so we looking. Some of the people, immigrant, they said we need healthy places, and it's not just healthy places. It's a healthy. We have. I'm my philosophy with that. So we have a healthy things. It's coming like from the physical health for your body, or healthy feel. So the freedom, it's one of the healthy feel. When you feel like you can do anything in the frame of the law, with the frame of the law, like you can speak, you can, take your feeling and tell anyone what you feel. That is very important. We feel the freedom in the United States. I mean, I'm talking about my experience with that. I don't know what the other people have. It's not but I'm talking about myself. So like if I got someone he doesn't like me, or if I doesn't like that, I'm just like, okay, we doesn't like that. You can say for anyone. Yes.
We're just doing introduction. Sorry to interrupt you, but we have a lot of questions. And thank you for your
because anyway, thank you.
We'll come back to you. I'm so happy you have a lot to share with us, which is awesome. And we'll come back again. I just want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to introduce themselves. We'll come back again for a different question. So we still have 2 more panelists that need to do introduction. And if I haven't said it already, I'm sorry, but if we could be brief because we only have 1 hour together. So just a quick introduction of who you are, how did you come to the US, and how did you end up in Portland, Maine? We have a couple of more questions.
Okay, go ahead. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I can go next if we're ready. Hello, my name is Savy. I'm currently helping with the Cambodian Community Association of Maine. I came to the United States in the mid to late 80s, and my family, we're Cambodian, and we came here after the, I thought I heard some music. So anyhow, so we came here, my family came here in the late 80s after the, as refugees after the Khmer Rouge genocide of Cambodia, where over 2 million people, Cambodian people were killed. And so we were refugees that came here just to America seeking a new life. And my family was asked in the refugee camps, where we wanted to go, and we said we wanted a nice, quiet place, not like a city life. And so they, led us to Maine, and so here we are. We came here, we loved it, and we stayed. And I'm one of those people that, I fall into the category where I didn't think to look for citizenship yet, because growing up here, I came here when I was about 4.5, 5, and therefore, no one around me or my family talked about becoming a citizen. And so that was never really in my mind frame to look to become naturalized. And also somebody got it in my head that once I go through the school system and, live a certain amount of years in America, that I automatically became a citizen. So clearly that was misinformation. And this is great that we're doing all this, because I'm hoping to add to, proper information so that people in my shoes and whatnot would, find the right path becoming a citizen. So I hope I gave enough there not to do too much.
No, thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Savy. My name is Pious Ali. I am originally from Ghana. So happy Citizenship Day to everyone out there who is joining us. I came to the US exactly 20 years ago this month. I first came to New York, and then I accidentally walked into a friend of mine at the bus stop. That's a joke. I went into a mutual friend's home, and one of my friends that I know from back home was sitting there. His name is Ebenezer Akako, and I asked him, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in Italy. And Ebenezer said, I live at a place called Maine. And I asked Ebenezer, where is Maine? That was in 2000. That's 20 years ago. And 2 years later, after visiting Maine a couple of times, I decided to move here. So I moved to Portland in 2002. And I currently work at Maskey School of Public Service. I am the program director for a project called Portland Empowered, where I work with parents who have kids in Portland public schools to get them to understand how the school system works, and then work with the school district to change policies and practices that they think is not equitably. So we do that locally, and we also work with school districts in some parts of the country to get them to do the same thing in their school districts, where there are immigrants like me who don't understand the way the school system work. What else? Have I touched every aspect of the question?
To some degree, yes, I think you have.
Okay, I will stop here so that others will have more time, and as time goes on, I will share little by little.
Thank you, Pious, for sharing that story. It's incredible how so many people ended up in Portland, Maine accidentally. I hear that quite often. Thank you all for doing your introductions and for all the work that you're doing here in our state of Maine. I think some of you have touched on this a little bit, but I would like to pose the question so others can jump in and say, for me, I know when we first came here to America, our biggest challenge and the biggest struggle, and still is until today, is the weather in Maine. Such a bipolar weather. My mom is truly convinced that Maine is a part of Canada and not part of the US. So that's a debate for another day. But we struggled with, language barrier, adjusting to the weather, adjusting to the food, adjusting to our neighbors. There were so many obstacles that I faced. And I wonder, what obstacles did you guys face when you first came to the States?
I'll take a stab at it. Yeah, the weather was really very hard for me, and I have to balance. I used to live in Atlanta, Georgia, the same as African weather. It's just a little bit humid more, as Africa is dry, sub-Sahara. But it was warm. I was from warm to warm and then to cold, and that was really very challenging to us. But we kind of balanced it out, the kind of time that we have, especially for me, for somebody who wanted to access more education for myself. I didn't have that chance to do it in Atlanta, Georgia, because it's a big city and you have to get stuck in traffic almost 3-4 hours a day. And when I moved to Maine, it was really easy. I can go to work, I can go to school, I can still participate in my kids' schoolings and education, and still have more time, because it is a family-oriented state. It's a big state, but yet it's a smaller state. So that allowed me to go back to school and have my 2 master's degrees that I have now. If I were in Atlanta, Georgia, I would not be able to get that. But the flip side to that is Maine is 97% white. And as a Black person, there is so much, and a person of color, racism that is happening, if not wide open, but also in places that you may not even think you get really denied for certain things. So I had to experience that in so many different ways, and I had to fight that. I have to fight that and making sure that those folks who are coming from my country or the other countries will not face such things, because of the fact that if I am facing that, somebody like me who has, great big educations, and as well as, the language, imagine our folks who do not have the language to communicate with others and do not have the kind of education that most of us have. So I've been fighting for our immigrant communities in the broader perspective, and especially for the Somali community, for them to be able to have, at least to break some of the barriers that they have. So and I promise myself every year, I'm not going to stay in this state anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. But I end up being here because I think it's a great state to raise children, as a matter of fact. And also we have a lot of open-minded people who can fight with us and be allies. So it's our job to navigate that system and making sure that our immigrant communities have a better shot for education, for healthcare, for housing, and all of those things that we are really seeking when we came to this country. So.
Very important. Thank you, Deqa. And please feel free if you have, to our panelists, don't let me call out your name. If this question speaks to you, feel free to jump in.
I'll jump in if no one else is jumping in yet. I definitely, my family, when we first came to America, you know, is, I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, Deqa, mentioned, you know, coming to Maine, being, you know, a minority group, there's not, you know, because Maine is such a predominantly white community, but there are so many great allies, you know, and that's one of the things that made my family for sure want to stay and, you know, in Maine for so long. But we definitely, you know, have some funny stories and some, you know, hard stories about growing up and essentially surviving here in Maine, you know, as, you know, people of color. And, you know, one of the funny stories I'll share really quick is like my family that was, you know, kind of similar to what we were used to eating. And, you know, there was just definitely a lot of adjustments. I can tell you right now, my family came to Maine barefoot. Like we had no, and we came in December too. And, you know, experienced snow for the first time. And, you know, we like grocery shopping, for instance, was difficult because we didn't know where to go to find certain things like the essentials that we found as essentials, like rice. And I remember one time my mother going to the store and seeing all these canned good stuff, and she saw a huge giant like can of Crisco, but she saw a picture of a ham essentially, so she thought like opening up that can was like meat, but then when she brought it home, opened it up, it was just lard. So, you know, stuff like that, the language barrier, the difficulty of finding assistance, you know, there's so many, like I said, allies, people that want to help us, but, you know, with the language barrier, it makes it difficult. And so at one point or another, my family did try to move to Rhode Island, where we discovered a smaller community of other Cambodians that, you know, we could connect with and help us sort of assimilate into life in the United States. But, you know, unfortunately, we didn't realize that when we went over there, although there's, you know, other population of Khmer people there, it was difficult where we were sort of packed into a group of people that I guess the states were helping, but not really helping in a way where they kept us in the ghettos. And so there was no way for us to kind of climb out of poverty and make anything of ourselves. And so we connected with our friends that we made in Maine and pretty much said, listen, you know, there's no opportunity for us to grow here. Is there any way we could come back to Maine and try to make a life here? And so therefore we came back to Maine, and, you know, there was just more opportunities of, even though, like I said, limited on a diversity here, but there was essentially, as refugees and immigrants and whatnot starting out here in the United States, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, who to connect with, and you know, make something, you know, like attempt to have the American dream and prosper and, you know, find success. And I feel like I'm probably rambling on, so I'll let someone else go.
Not mumbling at all very, very valid and important points, and I can relate to all of them. You know, Maine has changed today, but a long time ago, it was really hard to fit in and to find a place where you can call home, or a community that you can call a community, because there wasn't people that looked like us. So thank you all for bringing out a lot of important struggles that you went through, but I know that a lot of new Mainers and new immigrants are going through currently. So we need to keep that in our minds on how to help them as they're adjusting here in our state. I think my next question, I'm kind of directed to Pious. How was your process like in obtaining your citizenship? Was it hard? Was it easy? How was the ceremony like? Who did you take with you when you got sworn in?
Oh, I think actually I just sent an op-ed to Portland Press Herald today. I hope they publish it, talking about my citizenship and how I became citizen and how why it is important for us to connect our citizenship, our civic engagement, and the political system. And in that letter, I advocated for why it is important for us to, I know that you guys are non-profit, so I'm not gonna go political because the letter was overly political. However, the day of my citizenship, I felt as if I was born again because I don't normally share this story. You all know me as Pious. Pious actually was my middle name. My first name was Abdullah. And so I became Pious to everyone, even from back home. And that day was an opportunity for me to do some shuffling and moving things around. So I moved my middle name to be my first name because that is what everyone is calling me. And so I felt as if I was born again. I was there with my family then, parents, not parents, my parents have not been here, they are back home. My ex-wife and my kids, it was, I remember very well, it was in October in 2008, and it was at a courthouse in downtown. I did all the process, the paperwork that I need to do for that day, and then joined other immigrants who were making that big transition to take the oath. And then after that, we went and had a big lunch in the old port. I don't remember which restaurant we went, but it was a celebratory, it was like a big reborn again for me because my life has come around as an immigrant, and it was also an opportunity for me to participate in other things that I have been sitting on the fence, which is getting involved politically to make the community that I live in the better that it can be, to bring the voice of other immigrants who do not have that opportunity to participate directly, and also to create opportunities for immigrants who may not be citizens, but their voice are needed for them to speak to elected officials and leaders in the community. So that was my Citizen Day celebration, and I'm having a celebration actually on October something when I became a citizen.
Because it's 20 years, right? You said 20 years since you've been here.
No, yeah, 20 years since I came here, but I've been a citizen since 2008.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you invite us. Maybe we'll do a Zoom celebration to celebrate Abdullah, Pious.
Ali and I would charge a gate fee to the Zoom.
Thank you, Pious. Does anybody want to tell us a little bit, maybe Deqa or Savy or anybody in the panelists, how was that experience like being sworn in and being naturalized? Who did you bring with you? Did you have family here? Did you take pictures?
I talked about it a little bit. Mine was kind of different because that same day that I took my interview, the immigration officer asked me if I can come back at 1 o'clock to take the oath. So I was not able to bring anybody. My husband was working and my babies were little, so my mom was taking care of them. So I had to stick around the downtown area because if I go back home and then come back, I would have been stuck in traffic, and I did not want that. So I stick around in downtown area and just went back. But it was really big surprise to my husband. He's like, that's special because I had to wait for a year to become a US citizen. So yeah.
I can chime in really quick about my story. I actually just passed my citizenship, the interview and the exam, but I have not been sworn in yet. I'm getting sworn in October 2nd, but I think I'm frozen. Uh-oh. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I froze for a second there. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I will be sworn in with my mother. Both my mother and I will be getting our citizenship or naturalized back in February, and then COVID hit, and I was supposed to get my interview and all that stuff. I luckily, like I said, got a very quick process where I literally applied for was the N400. I sent that out in February and got notice right away about the biometrics, getting your fingerprints and ID and all that stuff in late February, early March, and then I was supposed to get my interview in early April, and like I said, COVID happened, and so that was a long wait. That was very nerve-wracking, but I finally heard something back in August, and I went in, like I said, a couple weeks ago, and yeah, passed the test. I'm very excited, and unfortunately, because of COVID, I can't have a big celebration, but looking forward to it all the more. So yeah, and that's my story. Thank you.
Awesome. That's very exciting news. Congratulations. And we look forward to maybe seeing pictures on social media or not.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to direct this next question to our panelist, Zoe. Now that you are a naturalized citizen, what role do you think you play in shaping our democracy? Do you think do you have a responsibility in being engaged civically?
I think we should, as citizens, to play, like for me, in my role as the executive director of New England Arab American Organization, like we feel a responsibility to do two roles. Is that to bridge between the cultures? Like one is to educate our community about the importance of your voice, that their voice matters, what becoming citizen, what does this mean to them? But also our role is to help out the host community, get to know more their neighbors and get to know who they are. Why I need to, cherish having a neighbor who is from a different country. What can they bring to the table and be accepted that way? So this is what I feel. We have a responsibility to advocate for encouraging our families to vote. We're gonna be going door to door to help them out, getting to know their right, know the different method that they can vote this year, especially with the COVID restrictions.
Can I piggyback on what Zoe said? So the responsibility is really huge, and as elected officials, for me, I brought in front of the city council in South Portland, Citizens for Citizenship. So when we're talking about and saying that representation matters, it does really matter because of the fact that we have this progressive city councilors in South Portland, but may not have really any idea what Citizens for Citizenship were. So I get approached by my late brother, Alan, may God peace be upon him, and Kevin, who was a consultant at the time for the Greater Portland Welcome Center, and said, hey, Deqa, what do you think if you can introduce policy like this at the city of South Portland? And I just took it, run with it, put a workshop. The council were really amazed by it and they loved it. And if I can, let me just go ahead and read this quick resolution that we came up with for the city of South Portland. So the city of South Portland City Council, the resolution says this: whereas Cities for Citizenship is a national initiative to encourage cities and counties across the United States to support citizenship and financial empowerment for eligible permanent residents, and whereas there are current several million lawful permanent residents who are eligible to naturalize across the United States, yet each year fewer than 9% of those who are eligible to naturalize take the important step of applying for citizenship, and whereas cities and counties play an role in promoting naturalization and removing barriers that prevent these folks to become US citizens, and ultimately fostering a more inclusive and robust representative democracy. And whereas cities and counties can capitalize on community relationships and existing connections by working closely with community-based organizations such as the Immigrant Welcome Center, and ultimately helping folks to become U.S. citizens. Whereas cities, counties can provide local support services and information for residents in the community that promotes citizenship and financial empowerment. Be it therefore proclaim that the city of South Portland does hereby commit to join the Citizens for Citizenship initiatives and explore ways to expand promoting and services to new partnerships, provide information and resources related to citizenships at the City Hall, public libraries, and on the city website. Partner with service providers and community-based organizations that promote citizenship and financial empowerment. Make available the City Council chamber, city buildings, or other public venues appropriate to host citizenship oath ceremonies and other naturalization-related events. So again, when we say really we should be on the table as the immigrant people and really connect and making sure that we run for office, this is what kind of policies that we bring it to the table. That doesn't mean our city councilors and our state representatives and also senators are not, don't want to do this, but that is not in their lens. So we have to bring that to our communities and making sure that we take the power that we have as elected officials and bring those to be policies in our cities, counties, and states.
Thank you, Deqa. I think, Deqa, this is not fair. You and I have this thing that if we are going to read resolution and stuff like that, we'll let the other one know so that they will bring theirs. By the way, Portland also have this resolution. So Deqa, this is not fair. Next time you just have to give me a head up so that I can print ours and show it and say that Portland also did have that resolution. So this is not fair. I just will have to.
So let me say this. Everything I do it with my brother's for visual things that he's doing. So thank you for giving us the way and making the path all open for us. For any immigrant who run for office, we did it because our brother Pious did it first for us.
Oh, thank you, Deqa. What I wanted to add to everything that Deqa have said is, and everyone else around voting, I don't think we should just vote. Voting is important, but it is a one-time thing that we do, something that we need to have in mind as immigrants who live here, whether we are citizens or not, is to continuously to engage the people that we put in office. People who are in office have a lot of power. Anytime I raise my hand, it affects what you pay for taxes. It affects how your roads and the streets in your neighborhood are plowed. It affects who pick up the trash and when and what time. It affects how much money you put in the meter when you go to downtown Portland. So don't leave me alone. Ask me questions, bother me, and not just me. Anybody that is in elected office in the towns and cities and the communities that you live in, they are working for you. So don't just wait until election comes around and then get involved. You need to get involved every day. That is what you are supposed to do, whether you are a citizen or not. And even more, if you are a citizen, get involved, run for office, work for a campaign, look for people who represent the interests and the values that you have, and then support them if you don't want to run. That is what I will just add to everything that we've discussed. Yeah.
Yeah, those are really important points. Thank you to all of you for, again, I keep saying for all of, we have to, I think Deqa said this, in order for us to create change, we have to be that change, right? So as immigrant here, we can't just all leave Maine. If there's something broken, we have to stay here and find ways to fix it. Because I too, I don't just put all the responsibility on my host community or host family. I also play a very important role in shaping Maine and helping Maine to become a more inclusive place for all. So thank you guys. And I think you already kind of touched on my question that I was about to ask. We have about 10 minutes left. So this question is for all of you. I think we lost one of our panelists. Maybe he'll join again. But what advice do you have for new immigrants who are adjusting here in Maine? In particular, those who are eligible to become citizens. And I think Pious and Deqa and Savy and everyone touched on this a little bit, but I want to again pose this question to make sure that our audience who are listening to us get a clear answer. What is the advice that you have for new Mainers?
Like if I can chime in from a social point of view, is that we are all here. We left our countries, whether forced or by choice, to come looking for safety, for home. So for us, it's also our responsibility to ask the questions, to feel that this is home. And you know that, like, I'm so proud. Like, I know there are so many challenges sometimes for so many people. However, like the kind of work of people coming together to help out their neighbors or to advocate for them, and especially during this COVID pandemic, like I cannot imagine the help of people caring for others. So I think for us to stop feeling that we are guests, we are at home, and for us to, you know, we're all here to raise awareness, show people what are the right things to do, the regulations, the laws, guide the way, pave the way for them, create opportunities for them to thrive so they can, you know, move forward and get their families to success. So I feel this is my responsibility as a person, as a citizen, a proud citizen who came to Maine, and I feel this is my home. So this is what I can add.
I just want to add to speak to those who, because I know I've spoken to some people, especially Cambodian people too, who are in similar situations where, because I can't speak for all immigrants, but just at least the few people I've encountered with where being an immigrant and essentially escaping from another part of the world that didn't want them, or their government abused them, or in whichever way, essentially people who came here in fear are afraid to become citizens because the citizen process, they're afraid that it's going to expose them to more you know, whatever fears that they can't anticipate or can't see. And then there are groups of people too who are uneducated and don't realize the benefits of becoming a citizen and how it could actually help them, you know, feel safer or be more safe and, you know, inclusive in the country that they're choosing to live in currently. And so I think it is, you know, one of our, I don't want to say obligations, but essentially, you know, we that are more educated should help, you know, bring more information and more light to the importance of becoming a citizen and just diminishing those fears. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Savy. I think it was about maybe 4 years ago, the first time Representative Rachel Talbot was run for office, and we were knocking doors for her in the immigrant community and trying to make sure people go out and vote. And I really was surprised to find out that many of the Somali community members that I was knocking their doors thought, when you come to this country and become US citizen, you are already, you can vote. They did not know the fact that they have to register to vote. So that was really something that I was surprised. And the more we go out and knock doors and talk to people, the more we're gonna find out what's making them, you know, not voting or registering and what's the reasons behind that. So I think it's very important for us as Savy said and everybody else that we have the responsibility as an immigrant folks to make sure each and every person who is eligible to become a US citizen should become a US citizen. And on top of that, register to vote. I think Maine is doing a great job with the, I think League of Women Voters are setting up tables at citizenship ceremonies, and once somebody becomes a US citizen, they right away register them to vote. And a good friend of mine works there, Ladu, who is really driven for immigrant folks to become to register to vote. So each and every one of us has that opportunity to do it, and making sure we are really igniting also and letting the youth get involved as well, because I've seen 18-year-olds and between 18 and 25-year-olds who are not registered to vote, and most of them were born right here at Maine Medical Center. So we have a lot of work to do in order for us to really change the dynamics of those politicians and state representatives, or all the way to the presidency, who are really have the same values as we do. And as you all know, the immigration has been the rhetoric for Trump administration, cutting things left and right, from 180,000 refugees to come to the United States by the Obama administration to 18,000 to the Trump administration. So we need to really work very hard as community at large to make sure that we are saying no to these rhetorics that are saying immigrants are not really whatever negative that is out there. Whether it is the Muslim ban or kids who are being detained in the southern border, all of those things are right in front of our faces. And if we do not do what we're supposed to be doing, that is going to keep on going. So let's work together.
For sure. Anything from you, Pious, before we conclude our webinar here?
I just want to thank everyone who joined us, and those of us who take the time from our day to participate in this. And then I hope that we will continue to engage our community on this path beyond the election to get people more involved. I think everyone else have said everything that I may say, so that's all for me.
And may I chime in before we pivot, Ekhlas? I just want to say on behalf of the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center, thank you for your incredible stories, feedback, and for the incredible work that you're doing in your respective community. We acknowledge, we value you. And so we're hoping that we have multiple opportunities to speak to this particular critical role that we can play with respect to being at home, belonging, right? And being civically engaged, and citizenship pathways is one critical way, but a very important one. I do want to also mention that the Immigrant Welcome Center is not the only organization that is doing the critical work in terms of making sure that people are registered to vote. There are many organizations who we work with, and I'm just going to shout out a few: Gateway Community Service, Present in Maine, Maine Immigrant Rights Coalition, who are doing the work. So this is very much a collaborative process. And for the organizations such as the organization that Zoe leads, you're doing social work, and part of that is educational outreach. That's critical work. And what we're trying to do here is provide opportunities for organizations that are doing various efforts to making sure that people have the information that they need to feel like they belong, that they can civically engage, that they are having the platform. And if we, as the Immigrant Welcome Center, can provide the infrastructure, that is the role that we are going to play. So having a New Mainers Alliance, thank you, Deqa, for mentioning that as well. I do want to say, if you are curious, if you're with us right now and you are ambiguous to how to register to vote, please contact us at the Immigrant Welcome Center. I will give our generic email, info@welcomeimmigrant.org. Feel free to also reach us at our phone number. It's 207-517-3401. Again, 517-3401 if you have any questions about registering to vote. And so with that, I'll just leave Ekhlas to conclude this wonderful webinar.
Yes, indeed. Yes, to just echo what everybody has said and what Shima just said, we're really grateful that all of you guys took time out of your busy schedule to be here with us to share your stories. It's really critical, and I know that at the Welcome Immigrant Center, we really believe in the power of we. We are the people. We are going to create this change that our community truly deserves. And all of our work matter. For those who are listening, for those who are viewing right now, I know that everybody is doing incredible work here in the greater Portland area and in Maine in general. We are going to do actually phone banking right after this webinar. If you would like to become a volunteer, like Shima said, please reach out to us at email, phone numbers. We'll be happy to have you as a part of our team, because this work is critical. And again, it takes all of us to get the job done. So thank you once again for joining us today. Happy World Citizenship Day. And I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Happy World Citizenship Day.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Take care. Bye.
Take care.